Alright, today we're talking about some very common Hawaiian words that you'll hear here in Hawaii. Many of them, or most of them, are mispronounced, so we'll work on some pronunciation. I'll talk about the meaning of some of these words, and then I'll give you a functional phrase, maybe a question as well, so that you can, make more use of the Hawaiian language outside of just these, individual words. So let's get started. Today we are at Ulupo. Ulupo is a very sacred place where we have this heiau, and that's the first word that we'll be talking about. A heiau, we'll talk more about the meaning, but first the pronunciation, that's at the surface level here. Because we have 4 vowels, it makes it very difficult, especially for English speakers or other languages where they like their consonants. Well, for us, Kanaka, Hawaiians, we like our vowels. So you have 4 vowels back to back. What will be helpful in the pronunciation is if you slow it down, and we'll go heiau. Now I'm overemphasizing, right? We don't really say it that way, but it's helpful. You have heiau. When you put it together, it should sound something like heiau. So heiau. Does that make sense? Hopefully. You can rewind and go back and forth. But this heiau is called Ulupo. It's right here in the ahupua of Kailua. If I'm not mistaken, it's right on the lines of Kukanono, a smaller land division here. It's right next to this huge lokoia, we call it, which is a fish pond called Kawainui. It's right in the heart of Kailua. Almost nobody would see it while they pass by the main road because it's covered by a lot of trees and such. But yeah, it's right here. A really beautiful piece of history. Typically, heiau were places of worship. It could depend, depending on which god it was attached to, and sometimes multiple, there would be ceremonies taking place in and or around the heiau itself. Maybe in a later video, I'll interview my friend who's been one of the caretakers for this specific area. He can, elaborate a little bit better than I can. Here's a short phrase for this particular place. O Ulupo kaino o keie heiau. The name of this ancient place of worship is called Ulupo. Okay, the next word we're working on is lei. Very common Hawaiian word. If you're not familiar, it's in English they call it like a wreath, the thing that you put around your neck. It's made of flowers and maybe leaves and such. The way you want to pronounce that word is lei. So focus on the e and the e, right? The letter e is pronounced as a e, and the letter I pronounced as a e. So ei, like that. Lei. How is it often mispronounced? If you're from here, you probably know. Often it's le. Oh, such a nice le, or oh, we gotta go buy Auntie a le for later. Whatever it might be. Anyways, if we just add that E sound at the end, it makes it sound more Hawaiian and more accurate. So, lei, that's the pronunciation. Lei are often given ceremoniously for graduation. That could be sometimes at funerals. That could be when anybody accomplishes something, lei is given. Sometimes it's given as a gift for when you come to a new place, or sometimes they give you a lei, and sometimes there's an exchange of both. So lei are used in various ways, and they can be made out of many different things. For example, we have the hala tree here. We have lei hala, it could be. There's lei ki out of the tea leaf. We have lei kukui, and the list goes on. Lei can take many different forms. You'll also find this word as part of many names. So some of the common names are ku'ulei, or you might have lei lehua, the lehua lei. A lot of times it's used as a name for people because lei means child. It's an affectionate way, I should say, to talk about a child. So that could be used poetically. You could use that day to day as well. More functionally, we call children keiki, kamali'i, sometimes kama. But poetically, we talk about them, and maybe affectionately, we talk about them as being lei. And a functional phrase that you could use goes something like this. Na ku'umakuhi ne I hana I keia lei. which means that my mother made this lei. So feel free to use that. The next word is luau. Why in the world are we sitting by this kalo? We'll get to that in a minute. But the pronunciation of that word is luau. There's a glottal break between the u and the au part. We've talked a little bit about vowels already in this video, but when you pronounce it, make sure you focus on that u and then au. Oftentimes where people get mixed up with this word is the last part, au. Instead of au, they say ow. And so be careful with that. That slight difference means a lot from the Hawaiian language speakers perspective. So luau, it's often mispronounced as luau, right? Which isn't accurate at all. So keep that in mind. Not luau, but luau. Sounds more Hawaiian. Why did I choose to sit right here by this lo'ikalo? Luau, a meaning of luau is the young kalo leaf. It's said that back in the old times they would use the young leaf to make the luau moa, luau, what they call it, squid luau and such. It was the young leaf. That was during a time, of course, where we had a lot more kalo being grown all throughout the islands. I think many people, even outside of Hawaii, are familiar with a luau, a large gathering where you eat. Well, more traditional terms, according to Mary Kawena Pukui, are pa'ina or ahaina. So two different terms there that were used more so for that large gathering where people would eat. There might be music and such. I've even seen combinations of the two where it might be pa'ina luau and things like that. Yeah, a useful phrase that you might use if you're eating luau, you can say, nui ka ono o kia luau. Oh, this luau is delicious, tastes super good, super ono. The next word is Kuleana. This word is often mispronounced right in the middle and at the end, and we'll talk about it. We're breaking it down here. You have kule and then ana, Kuleana. The first place where it's often mispronounced is that E. A lot of people pronounce it as the E sound, like Kuleana, and that's not what you want to do. You want Kuleana. The last part also is mispronounced with the letter A. Letter A, we say Anna, but you'll hear a lot of people say Kuleana, Anna, when it should be Anna. So hopefully you can hear that. So that's how you'll pronounce that word, Kuleana. What this word means is a lot of different things. Well, I'll talk about just a few meanings I think that are important. One is that it means business, meaning this is my business personally, something to do with myself. Could be with your family, could be with your work, could be with things that you take care of. So if somebody's getting, we say niere, yeah, they're getting kind of nosy into your personal space and your life and you don't know them that well, right? You can say something like, ole kira ko Kuleana, ko Kuleana kira, yeah? That's for me to know and for you not to find out, yeah? So that's a way that Kuleana is used in Hawaiian. Another meaning of Kuleana is rights. So people that Kanaka have rights to lands traditionally, and there's been a lot of history that's taken that away. But you would have Kuleana land, yeah, which was allotted to you by the leadership in place, yeah, the ali'i chiefs. So Kuleana, you can also have that applied to the space that you take care of, yeah, land, yeah, aina, land, kai, ocean, ohana, family, and then yourself, yeah. So all of that can be applied in that sense of taking responsibility for what you oversee or what you're meant to steward or take care of. So that's a little bit more on that word. I mentioned already a phrase, but I'll say it again. You can say ko'u Kuleana kira, yeah, that's my business, yeah, or my responsibility to take care of. All right, the last word we're gonna do is pau, because we're at the end of the video. That word is often mispronounced as pau or pow. So it's not pow, it's pau. So focus on those two vowels of the A and the U. When you put them together, or separately, let's do them separately. Au, au, pau. and now we're doing like a Sesame Street take here. But that's how you want to pronounce it, pau. Hopefully you can hear the difference. Not pau, but pau. What does pau mean? It has a lot of meanings. It can mean finished, done, over. It can even mean to be dead or pass on. So when you talk about your kupun of ancient times, you can say, ua pau lako, they've passed on. For some functional phrases, I thought a good one might be this. For a place like this, there's a lot of hana, a lot of work that takes place. And when you're finished, when you pau, yeah, you can say, pau ka hana. Yeah, the work is done. If you want to tell somebody to finish what they're working on, you can say, ho'opau i ka hana. Ho'opau i ka hana. Yeah, if you notice, there's pau and then there's ho'opau. So pau is done. It's in the state of being finished or done with. Ho'opau is to make it pau. Yeah, to finish something. So that's a distinction there. Actually, growing up, we would always hear, are you pau with your food? Are you pau with your homework? But in Hawaiian, you wouldn't really phrase it that way, because if you directly translate it, it wouldn't come out the right way. If you said, well, pau oe me ka mea ai, like is your food and yourself finished, meaning maybe both of you got consumed or ended up make, but that's not how that works, yeah? So an easy way to incorporate it with food could be, well, pau ka mea ai, yeah, is your food pau? That works. Anyways, that's a little bit more on pau. Okay, that's the end of the video. Ua pau ka hana. When it comes to all these Hawaiian words, focus on the pronunciation. Rewind the video, go back and practice. What's really helpful is if you record your own voice and then compare it to mine. I've done a lot of work over the years to improve my own pronunciation, so I feel confident enough to tell you that you can do that. Use me as a point of reference. It can also be difficult to pronounce Hawaiian words when you're speaking English. Maybe it's pidgin. So a good tip is just kind of slow it down. If you're talking to people, you might talk about the people's different responsibilities. Our Kuleana is this, slowing it down can be helpful, because it is difficult to switch between two languages. Another thing is keep your mind open. What you understand pau to mean today may change as you get more information, and that goes for Kuleana, and that goes for lei, and so on and so forth. Keep your mind open. You don't want to get, you don't want to put yourself in a box, because one Hawaiian word can have many, many different meanings. Anyways, I hope this video is helpful for you and it inspires you to continue to learn and to improve what you do know as far as it comes to the Hawaiian language. Ua pau no keia, mahalo kei hui ana keia la, aloha.